Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the little delay. Thanks to all participants and the audience, and welcome to this third edition of Loops 3.0. The episode of today is called "Navigating the Digital Frontier." And for those who are not familiar with loops, basically, it is a brainstorming session organized by us, Delta. My name is Mattia Bosoni. I'm a project manager, and today also my colleague is here, Martin Hallin.
Good morning.
And yes, the loops episodes have the aim to brainstorm and discuss about projects that focus on one topic. We had in the previous two sessions the topic of manufacturing and remanufacturing, and today we will have as a main topic, I would say, digitalization. So there will be the presentation of three projects with a discussion afterwards where a question will be asked and where the discussion will hopefully bring inspirations and insights. So the three projects of today are MIND4MACHINES, Forging, and PATH2DEA. The first project, MIND4MACHINES, which the project coordinator will present, Eda Turtas. It's a project that supports small and medium enterprises with digitalization, and the aim is to establish a large-scale demonstrator to test digital solutions. To test digital solutions for production processes, investments, and innovation focused on the manufacturing sector. Then we have the project Forging, will be presented by the project coordinator, Brigitta Jurisic. And Forging is a new methodology that wants to steps away from the usual linear methodologies and want to be more circular, focusing on the environment and the society. It is a methodology that also focuses on technological innovations and new technological pathways to follow in the industry. As a third project, we have PATH2DEA, which will be presented by the project coordinator, Stefan Pfeiffer. And PATH2DEA focuses on digitalization and the support that digitalization can give in the agricultural sector, more precisely in the agroecology branch of agriculture. So with digital tools and other technological innovations. And now I think we can start with the presentation, the detailed presentation of the three projects. I would start with MIND4MACHINES. So I will leave the floor to the project coordinator, Eda Turtes. And please, Eda, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And looking forward to hear about your project and the other two.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Mattia. It's nice to be with you here today. I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you just check if...
Yes, can see it.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
And you can see the screen? Yes, perfect. But it is in another mode, so let me just try to... I will do it again. I think now it's... No, it's not. Can you just check?
Is this? Can you see it now?
No, I think no.
No.
Let me try it once again. Okay, I'm moving, right? I will try it.
Now I lost.
Let me just try once again. And sorry, everyone. This is the first time I'm using this tool. So it's nice to know new tools.
Is it okay if we do it with slides?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Then
we
I
can.
will add the slides to the stage now. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now I think it's okay. Shall I move with the slides or will you do it for me? Just I have to ask this.
You can do it yourself if you go with the pointer on the presentation.
Yes. Okay, I found it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So it's nice to meet you all. And I hope it will be a good event and brings us some insights afterwards. I'm the coordinator of Mind4Machines, which is a Horizon 2020 project. The last from the last calls, it's an InnoSub project having a cascade funding inside, and it's a 39 months project. So we are about to finalize our project in September 2024. We have a budget around 5 million euros. From which around 3.3 million euros are spared for the cascade funding of digitalization technologies, actually. The objectives of Mind4Machines, like you informed before, is facilitating a cross-border and cross-sectoral collaboration between smart ICT technologies and manufacturing industry, supporting the entire digitalization value chain from IoT to cybersecurity in manufacturing sector. So support startups and SMEs developing Industry 4.0 solutions for the manufacturing sector and accelerate the market uptake of the solutions to support sustainable climate neutral and intelligent manufacturing within the context of European Green Deal. These are the objectives of our project. I am from Istanbul Chamber of Industry. Istanbul Chamber of Industry, I would like to give some information because it's a chamber of industry which includes only members from industrial sector. It's a little bit different than Chamber of Industries and Commerce and Industries. In Istanbul, we have them separately. And we are only having we only have members from manufacturing sector around 24,000 members we have. They are all producing companies, so it's a big member base from manufacturing sector. As of course they are mostly SMEs, small companies, or other partners are from different regions, from 7 different regions from Europe. We have an Italian partner, Spanish partner, Irish partner, also located in Portugal. We have German partners, Finnish and Bulgarian and Romanian partners. So it's a pan-European consortium. Or approaches, I will come to that also later. We have manufacturing companies. They are in need for technology providers to make some digitalization projects. However, we are supporting not the manufacturing companies, actually. We are supporting the technology providers to be able to demonstrate their solutions at the manufacturing companies. I will come to that later. I will inform you about our open calls actually in my presentation and how we have come to the open calls. I have it also in my presentation. So we had 2 open calls, and for the technology providers in the open calls, we have accelerator programs. We have an open innovation platform in the project so that the manufacturing companies meet with the technology providers, or the technology providers meet with the manufacturing companies. And we have an investment readiness level self-assessment tool, which is open to everyone. Every startup, of course, it's more likely on startup and SMEs in technology providing sector, so that they know what their lacks, and they attend to our accelerator programs as well. I will come to the details afterwards. So what we have done at the beginning of our project, it's really important, maybe also for the manufacturing sector, what we have done, what we have produced during our project. We made some reports, some research at the beginning of our project. We made some desk research, some surveys, and we brought together all of our expertises before Mind4Machines, all together, all our partners. So we had, you can see in the link below, resources. All resources are in Mind4Machines website. This part of our website includes all the deliverables produced during the project. So you can download and have a look at the reports we produced during the project. One of the reports is assessment of current ICT tech solutions rollout in the European manufacturing sector. We produced a report on best practices and success cases in manufacturing sector, and we, after a pan-European and regional workshops, we prepared a joint strategic agenda before we launched our open calls. So you can, these are done all in 2021, 2022. And then we launched our open calls. Okay. I would like to inform you about some key points, key results of these interviews and research. As you see from the stakeholder interviews, we have seen that the focus of digitalization of companies, of manufacturing companies, is mostly on Internet of Things, but actually mostly on manufacturing execution systems and enterprise resource planning. Still, the SMEs lack of enterprise resource planning tools, which is actually not counted as Industry 4.0 solutions. And they are also interested in artificial intelligence, we can say, from the research we done. The main reasons for introducing ICT from our stakeholder interviews, this is the main reasons of the manufacturing companies to invest in digitalization solutions. We can just translate. They are looking for process optimization. They are looking for resource efficiency. They are looking for cost reduction. They are all related to each other, as you can see. So it's first comes to the cost reduction, and then it comes to the better management of orders. This is also somehow connected to efficiency, actually, and better client services. Also, is the next one. So you can see the motivation of manufacturing companies for implementing ICT digitalization solutions here. And what are the main barriers was also a question we asked to the stakeholders. The main barriers in companies is, as you can see, lack of skills and people, and high initial investment. This is true. And lack of awareness is another point, important point. And company culture is also an important point, which has to be focused on in such works to do with the digitalization of manufacturing companies. Now we can come to the Mind4Machines approach. With using this research, we opened 2 calls. But I will inform you about the calls a little bit in detail. So I would like to just inform you about our accelerator services. The entrance point for the accelerator services have been the investment readiness level self-assessment tool, which can be found on our Mind4Machines website. We have a link there. It is still ready to be used, so you can still use it if you're interested. It's a self-assessment. And so you can see what is needed actually for the investors. It's maybe the main point of the self-assessment. The entrance point for the accelerator services have been the investment readiness level, and the accelerator services were actually targeting all users of investment readiness level tool, but mainly, of course, we are focusing on our open call beneficiaries. We call them sub-beneficiaries. we have defined some needs according to the IRL level of companies. So if you have low IRL, it was recommended that you take these or that sessions, webinars. We had webinars, and we have recorded webinars and live webinars during our accelerator program. So we had that kind of a definition. We sent suggestions also to the IRL tool users. However, since the project is coming over the accelerator services, you can still use the IRL, and you can still reach the recorded tools of our accelerator program, but the live ones are coming to an end, I have to say. But what recorded is can be still reached, so feel free to use it. Our approach have been two funds, like I said, to support productization of technology, actually. So therefore, we focused on startups and SMEs, technology providing partners, and to their partnership with manufacturing SMEs and large companies, so that they can demonstrate, they can bring their TRL to a higher point and to make it a product to be used in other companies. That was our goal, actually, in our open calls. And I will come to the open calls now. We had two open calls, but I'm not sure if the slides are moving as I move. So I'm checking the online tool. Okay, now it's okay. Okay, we had, I said, 3.3 million euros spared for the financial support to SMEs. We had two open calls, and we have in each open call 21 funded projects. Let me come what was included in our calls. This is the summary of the call, I can say. We had two schemes. One scheme was innovation support, the other scheme was go-to-market support. They differentiated by the TRL levels. Innovation support targeted to bring technology from maximum from TRL 4 to maximum to TRL 7, and go-to-market scheme targeted starting with minimum 7 and move to the TRL 9. So we spared the budget also accordingly, and the budgets were divided according to the TRL. And you can see here, the industry partners also received some budget if they were SMEs. It was up to the 20% of the budget. So most of the budgets were spared to the, like I said, technology providers. What was the main objective of the call? It was to raise efficiency and competitiveness of the manufacturing industry by adopting the latest digital technologies and funding development and testing, validation and market uptake of Industry 4.0 solutions to support digitalization of value chains and raise efficiency and competitiveness of manufacturing sector. All are connected, actually. What the technology providers need to demonstrate their technologies, and the manufacturing companies then will have some products on the markets on digitalization which they can use. Our specific objectives came from the research I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, and they were digitalize information and integrate systems, some autonomous systems, enable manufacturing servitization, etc. I won't tell each bullet because I think the time is going. I had 10 minutes time. I hope I'm in it. I was going to say, but it's not. Okay, I will move quickly. And we defined industry challenges. We defined Industry 4.0 topics. I will show you the target group was, like I mentioned, industry technology providing SMEs with an end user partner from manufacturing industry. The key days have been like that. And the projects, the Open Call 1 projects, you can see here the industry challenge and relevant technology. I think we can share with you the slides, or the recording will be kept in the, I don't know how it will be, kept in the LinkedIn profile. So you will be able to see the information afterwards. So this is the project, some statistics from our Open Call 1, and these are the Open Call 2 projects. The industry challenge and the relevant technology correlation you can see. This is the statistics of the Open Call 2. Here I had a small video which I cannot at the moment show you, but here is a booklet of our Mind4Machines sub-projects. I don't know if, okay, this one. This is a booklet. You can use the QR code to reach the booklet. On our website is also, it is. We are going to be at 4 years from now Mobile World Congress next week. We have some of our project beneficiaries with us. We have a startup corner there. And if you will be there, please come and visit us. We will be at Hall 80B1. And in our booklet, you will see the information of all of our sub-projects, also divided into 2 sections. One is there, the ones who will be there, who you can meet there, and also the other projects, so you can have a look at it. And I can say thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Eda, for your presentation. A lot of information indeed. I think it would be interesting also for our audience if maybe, well, who's interested can of course ask about what can be shared, and maybe they can also go more in detail and discover more about Mind4Machines, because yes, as I said, the information were very were many, but important, all of them. So thank you very much. And I would move now forward with the second project. Of course, afterwards we will have the question session, so we can talk more about Mind4Machines as well. I will now welcome again Brigitta Jurisic from Forging, project coordinator. And please, Brigitta, the floor is yours to present your project. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you for having me. So I'll share the slides that are uploaded. Okay, I think I can move. Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Brigitta Jurisic. I come from International Iberian Nanotechnology Laboratory. We're based in the north of Portugal, and we are the coordinator of the Forging project. My personal professional background is in technology transfer and in incubator management, so this project is very close to my heart. But I need to mention a big thanks here to my colleague Marina Dias, who is actually the mind behind the project, and who coordinated the project writing and winning the funding, basically, for us to be able to deliver this project. So we're a team of 6 partners from 5 European countries. As I said, the INL is coordinator. We have I2CAT from Barcelona, APRE from Rome, STEM also from Italy, from Genova, GAC from France, and VTT from Finland. Working together with us, we're a cluster for coordination and support action project with a total budget of 2.5 million, and during the 36 months length of a project, we're now more or less at the half of the project execution. And why has the European Commission given us this project funding is because there is an understanding that the European industry is not capitalizing on the digital technologies as much as it could, and it's not really using them as much as they would be used in some other markets, like, for example, in the US. and therefore Forging was established, building on this concept of 2030 digital decade concept, building on the EU industrial strategy, and building also on top of European Green Deal. So what do? We are here to build a bridge between the research institutions and industry at low level TRL, so technology readiness level research, especially in the digital technologies. We are here to enable the cross-sectoral thinking, because we can take learnings from one sector into the other. And as mainly European industry operates only in one sector, this can be sometimes seen as a disadvantage. And we use foresight as a creativity enabling tool, looking far into the future, into 2050, with the early, very young technologies that we're looking at, and with societal impacts that they may have. So delving a little bit deeper into the methodology that we use, we scout for the emerging technologies by looking at specific European funded projects, literature, patent publications. We then cross that information with the societal impacts. So what are the economic impacts, environmental impacts of those technologies, political, social, ethical, those that we envisage or those that maybe we have not thought of. All this work is done by the forum of experts from industry and from academia who feed into the work that we are doing. And all the work is co-created, enabling us to uncover 6 different technologies. So on the right hand side, you have 6 different technological frameworks that are stemming from, so we have here a little bit more information about the frameworks. We're looking into human-centric solutions, bio-inspired technologies, real time-based digital twins, cyber-safe data transmission, storage, and sharing, artificial intelligence, and technologies for energy efficiency. All these 6 technological frameworks are stemming from Industry 5.0 approach, and Industry 5.0 is a human-centric industry in which all of these technological frameworks come to play in a way how we transform the industry. So a little bit more about the concrete activities that we're doing. So we've delivered scenario workshops where we looked into how the world will look like from a perspective of specific technological framework in 2050. Then we've delivered co-creation technological activities where we looked into the scouting work that we've done and validated that work with our experts. We are now validating furthermore those technologies and looking how socially, societally, and environmentally acceptable they are, and how could we evaluate the potential impacts that those technologies will have on the society and on the environment. And we will be starting, we're already preparing this last pillar of expanding co-creation, where we will look to then identify specific use cases for those emerging enabling technologies to be adopted in the industry. Oh, this slide's not really showing very well, but there's some text missing. But you can see the QR code. This is really a call for action for you to join us in the Forging Forum. in order to be able to share your own insights about emerging enabling technologies and their use and the potential that they have for European industry to stay competitive. And we can also share with you all the information and the outcomes that we've gathered so far. And if you are a part of the forum, you can, of course, participate in our workshops that are upcoming and in other engagements that we will be organizing, such as webinars as well. This is a picture from one of the workshops that we've held. So this is the fun bunch of people that you would be joining. And thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you very much, Brigitta. Very interesting presentation. And I think especially to see for the first time, at least in our loop session, that future studies and scenarios are included in a project. Hopefully we can discuss about it later better.
Of course.
Thank you very much again. I now will leave the floor to the project coordinator of the third initiatives and project we are presenting today, PATH2DEA. Stefan, thank you very much for being here. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Mattia and Martin. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about PATH2DEA project. So PATH2DEA is a coordination and support action, and it deals with digitalization as an enabler for agroecology. So what is agroecology? Agroecology is basically an idea of doing agriculture by living and cultivating ecosystems. And the first ideas and ecological principles came up in the 1920s until it was later, after the Green Revolution, it was still kind of existing, but not yet really evolving. And later in the 1980s, it evolved as a scientific discipline that mostly tried to find ways how to combine ecology, agronomy, and ethobotany. And then later it became also enriched with ecological, social, economical, and political elements. And so we can say that agroecology nowadays is basically a science, but also a movement and a set of practices. The FAO quite recently defined 10 elements of agroecology, and those include basically different aspects of traditional agricultural practices, of cultivating practices that, let's say, include various aspects of farming functionality practices that are truly sustainable, but also social aspects and political aspects. Out of these 10 elements of agroecology, also the certain principles of agroecology evolved, which are playing a role for PATH2DEA. Overall, we can say that agroecology is seen as the only really truly sustainable agricultural practice, as it is a living and optimizing of ecosystems for agriculture and for productivity. So the general objective of PATH2DEA is to see ways and develop ways how digitalization may act as an enabler of agroecology. And in the growing and evolving agroecological innovation ecosystem, we would like to see strategically how the potential of digitalization can support and also further improve the adaptation and widely usage of agroecological practices in European farming. So what is the concept of PATH2DEA? PATH2DEA's concept is built. It's basically, we can say it's a pathway. That's also why we named this project this way, pathway on how to enable agroecological farming with digitalization. A pathway to a sustainable food system by first looking at the current EU farming system and then see what are the digital technologies that are already used for common farming, for conventional farming, but also particularly already used in agroecological or organic farming, so in the more sustainable practices. There we look what are the barriers in uptake for the digital tools by farmers that are organic, already applying different agroecological practices, or would like to convert into more organic farming. What are the barriers in uptake, or what tools are basically not really suited for the uptake of agroecological farming? So there we do a survey and we look at 6 showcases across Europe where sustainable farming practices and digital tools are already applied. At the same time, we in parallel look at the digital tools that are existing, and with a team of experts, we develop a framework of evaluation for the digital tools. These are based on economic, ecological, but also ELSA factors. Based on these informations, we talk in the work. We have certain workshops at the showcases where we talk about digital tools existing, the uptake barriers, the information that is collected from the surveys, and then we create a common vision. And how we do that? This common vision is based on a bottom-up principle, also elaborated in the showcases, where we co-evaluate with the farmers, with farmers advisors, technology providers, tools that are evaluated with sustainability performance framework. Based on this common vision that is built, we build recommendations which tools are suitable in different regions in Europe for different farming practices, coming from the showcases for the farming. And we will build a repository of digital tools that are according to the co-evaluated performance indicators suitable for agroecological farming. This repository will be then marketed, will be also accessible for farmers, where suitable digital tools can be chosen. Also, we will develop a roadmap for research and innovations to see what are the future needs, how the digital technologies need to adapt, what kind of platform the digital technologies need to be, or what are the needs of the platform technologies to become sustainable and useful for the for these farming practices. This also all feeds into the agroecology partnership that is launched or is currently launched by the EU, which can be seen in the TP Organics webpage. Next slide, please. Oh, I can do it there. Sorry. So who is PATH2DEA? To, let's say, tackle these complex tasks that I just outlined, we have a very huge and also diverse consortium of altogether 20 partners. These are pioneering research institutions in agroecology, RTOs in technology, like Vito. Then we have agronomy universities. We have umbrella organizations like Agroecology Europe. We have organic farming institutes all over Europe, which are also closely associated to certain showcases. We have cooperatives of farmers to really see to really have as partners also those which are affected at the showcases. And we also have SMEs that provide digital tools specifically for sustainable farming. I would like to talk a bit about the first, let's say, tasks we did at the project. So we are now in year 2, in the beginning of year 2. Altogether, it's a 3-year project. And last year we had in the summer launched a survey, which was directed to the farmers, farm advisors, and the producer organizations to know about the digital tools and how they are actually accepted by the farmers and farm advisors. So what are the usability aspects? What are the experiences, and where actually barriers are seen, and what are the concerns? So this survey was done in 9 languages. It was done all over Europe, and we had 500 participants, and the results will be after acceptation, I think later this year, then be published in a scientific journal. Also, I want to talk a bit about the PATH2DEA showcases, as this is the core of the project in terms of our bottom-up approach on how to see how digital tools can support agroecological farming. And here we selected 6 showcases in Italy, Hungary, Belgium, France, and 2 in Spain. So across different geographical and pedoclimatic regions. And here within different farming systems and also different structures, cooperatives, smallholder farmings, cattle breeders, we want to have a diverse picture of how the digital tools that are in these really pioneering places are already applied, how the experience and what will be the next steps in their sustainable farming approaches. So this well-selected 6 showcases we approach via 2 workshops. One was done already over the winter, so each place 1 workshop, which was on the usability aspects and uptake barriers and concerns. And after the completion of the evaluation framework, we will then co-develop, co-create measures, recommendations for the tools, for the digital tools for future applications in agroecological farming. We also have a podcast series on these tools, where the first episode will be published very soon and will be shared via the PATH2DEA newsletters, where can be got really detailed insight about each showcase and also interesting feedbacks on the uptake, concerns and barriers. To have a few words about some of the showcases, I just want to give a few examples. So there's, for example, Tuscany, olive farmers. They're all smallholder farmers, not full-time farmers, but year by year, there are less and less farmers. It's less and less economically feasible for the farmers to sustain their sustainable olive farming production. There's a price pressure. There is lack of people. And so here we had a showcase where already some digital tools for sustainable farming are applied. It's an app called Podery, which helps farmers to have information on the irrigation, the plant nutrition, and pest monitoring, so to support the organic practices that are applied there. Another showcase I shortly want to show is about livestock in Hungary. Their grazing cattle is monitored via certain sensors, and this is an example of basically on-farm solution which reduces labor costs for the organic cattle farmers. A very, let's say, advanced and highly technological showcase we have in the Almeria region of Spain. a showcase that was also part of a Smart Agri-Hub project, which was a huge European project, which was finished last year, and where different digital agricultural hubs were built across Europe. So this is an example of a farming cooperative, CoExFAL, where takes place a transformation to more organic or more sustainable farming practices. And here a set of tools was tested on how to improve biodiversity and also the resource use and to have an exact monitoring of this. Last, I want to show an agroforestry showcase. Agroforestry is interesting because it's a, let's say, very typical example of an agroecological farming practice. It is based on long traditional knowledge of combining basically trees with the field crops to have synergistic positive effects. And here in this showcase that is conducted in West Flanders with our partner Inagro, we see how and we monitor how the interaction of Juglans regia trees, so walnut trees, can affect the growth of vegetable, potato, cereals, and field beans. And with an exact monitoring, we can see the advantages that this combination of forestry with crops can bring to the farmers and to the outcome. Yeah, and that's just a few examples, and I hope I could give you a nice first view of PATH2DEA. Feel free to visit our webpage, path2dea.eu, or follow our LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook channels, and or reach out also, please, to me directly if you like to have more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefan. For me personally, it is very interesting to also include, as this is the first time in Loops, the agricultural sector within our discussions, and because of its importance, of course, not about agroecology, but also especially about the food systems and how this is changing as well, and maybe improving with digitalization. So, yes, thank you very much again. Now, I would start without losing time with the most interesting, I hope, session and moment, which is the brainstorming and question. I would start with the same order that we kept for the project presentations. So I would start with a question for EDA and Mind4Machines, which is basically, I would like to stress a bit more on how does digitalization affect the small medium enterprises in the manufacturing sector, and maybe if you can tell something about the trends, how you see the trends within your project, but also in general, the trends of digitalization within this sector, and how it affects small medium enterprises.
Okay. As you know, we are targeting SMEs, also manufacturing SMEs in our project, and I've showed you the research results at the beginning of my presentation. So the main target for digitalization, the main focus is efficiency for the SMEs, for manufacturing companies, because yes, digitalization, we are talking about dark companies, dark facilities in the future. So without any workers, without any people in the company, big companies, but without any people. So an SME, a manufacturing SME, how could they compete with this one is a challenge actually. But it's maybe mostly in not so the far future, but it's in close future. But however, I will now focus on the competitiveness of SMEs. To compete, the SMEs need to produce more efficiently. So the efficiency also, they have to be, the resource efficiency is also important. So also energy efficiency and everything. So everything has to be controlled, has to be measured, and then any measures have taken into account. So this comes with the digitalization. So digitalization is a need, is a must for SMEs to survive, actually. So they have to invest, or they have to have some digitalization tools embedded to their to their facility. It's a must. So they have to do something to compete, and this is what they can do. This digitalization is what they can do by means of competitiveness in every sector. In some of our projects, for example, there have been different projects actually in our open calls, because we didn't focus on one technology. We made it so general. The challenges are including everything, and the IoT, the Industry 4.0 technologies include everything. So we had native language processing, NLP, as well as cloud computing in our projects. So they had different, for example, for the natural language processing NLP project, it was about the workers, the efficient work of the workers, because they made a tool showing the workers how they have to measure something, so they gain time. For example, this is an example just in a SME. Or there have been predictive maintenance and other kinds of different projects. If you look at the booklet, you will see there have been different projects, but the main focus is efficiency, and it's important for the competitiveness of manufacturing sector.
Thank you, Eda. Very precise explanation. And I also have a question for, I would go to the second project, Forging, and changing a little bit the topic of the question. And of course, feel free, Eda and Stefan, to add anything if you feel like. I'm also curious about, and I'm asking this question now to Brigitta, what, within your experience and your project, what is, how did you experience the alignment of different stakeholders? Because you're developing a new methodology, and I can guess that maybe it is more immediate for certain stakeholders to apply, to understand, and less for others. What is your experience in these terms within the project Forging?
So I think that's a very good question, really, because it's very challenging to bring people from different backgrounds together, and especially because we want to be sector agnostic, so all sectors come to interplay, and basically people, even if they all speak in English, they speak different languages because they all come from different backgrounds, and this is what commonly happens when you bring stakeholders who are a worker, for example, on a factory shop floor, the company owner, the R&D team in an SME that's developing digital tools, or a researcher working and developing some specific research in the field. So what we realized is that we need to give a lot of attention to bringing everyone on board on what do we want to do, and what is the purpose, and how the methodology functions. Because we are developing the methodology as we go, and as we use design principles, foresight methodologies, we cannot approach it from a point of view that everyone knows what these approaches are, because mainly people are not familiar with those approaches. And the feedback that we received from the workshops was that this is something that they experienced for the first time. They didn't know exactly what to expect. It did give them the opportunity to think broader about the technologies, about the issues that they may incur in terms of environment, in terms of society. But I would like to hear also from Stefan and from Eda their opinions, because one of the pieces of work that we did was actually to look into other projects, how they do co-creation and engagement of different stakeholder groups.
Yes, please, Eda or Stefan, feel free to add anything also regarding your project, your field, about the stakeholders alignment.
Actually, we made it a little bit regionally. So we had 8 regions, we had 11 partners, and each partner made it in their region with stakeholders, manufacturers, and technology providing SMEs also. We had some interviews, we had some surveys, like I mentioned, and then we merged them together to the reports. Actually, I can just say, as stakeholders, if you mean the manufacturers and technology providers, they mostly they were knowing each other, and they came together for the projects. We didn't do especially. We did as we provided them platforms so they could meet, but most of them came from the old connections actually to the project. And with the stakeholders, we did it regionally in our own languages. And afterwards, we made it pan-European. I don't know if it will be an answer for the question, but
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it is.
For us, it was actually the key was that we had showcase ambassadors at each of our 6 showcase places. And these showcase ambassadors were actually people who the farmers or the stakeholders knew. They were well embedded in the system. They had previous interactions and the positive attitude. So for us, it was actually the key question to find the right stakeholders, showcase ambassadors, and then with them also to develop the co-creation exercises that are well suited for the particular showcases. So we really tried to build on actually information that we could gather already from the showcases rather than to put a ready-made scheme that might work in one system but not in another on all the showcases. So we had this kind of diversification, interactive approach to make the showcase experience worthwhile. And I have to say it was well working. So at all 6 showcases, we had actually very positive feedback from all the 6 showcases from the farmers.
Yes, I wonder, Stefan, if this this showcasing you're talking about that is really helpful. It also, I wonder, because you presented a lot of different contexts, and I guess that farming and agroecology is not at the same point and developed at the same point in the different countries and territories that you showed in your presentation. So to go back a bit on digitalization, I want to ask you, was this showcase approach also helpful to connect the different farmers in the different context with the digital world, with digitalization? Like, was the same for everybody, or did you see many differences across the different countries?
I think generally spoken, agroecology or farmers that let's say apply the agroecological or more sustainable farming practices, they're in general more resentments towards digital tools than probably by other farmers. This has two main reasons, in my opinion. It's on one hand, they're often smallholder farmers, they're smaller farming. So far the digital tools were more increasing a digital divide, because they're expensive, they need higher investments, and they are well suited for, let's say, many of the tools are well suited for very homogeneous farming systems. So the more, let's say, complex, also smaller farming systems from agroecological farmers are very often not really well accessed via digital tools. So they are not really one-for-all solutions. So they mostly had to deal with different tools, and then to learn these different tools, to invest into these tools is basically too much. So farmers would lose interest or wouldn't really see the benefits of those tools. And in that context, our showcases were also very different. That means we had some showcases where, let's say, there was a clear focus on certain crops, like olives, where already some digital tools are applied that are helping exactly those for those needs of a biodiversity, more sustainable farming approach. So there was the need, let's say, before for this type of tools, and they were already developed in that sense, but they would not be able to afford more expensive or more sophisticated tools. And other farming showcases, there were, let's say, more advanced. I would say mostly everywhere in Europe, the people were open towards these tools. In all the showcases, there was a general openness, but there was a lot of concern in terms of also administrative hurdles that are associated with the tools. That was, I would say, the major feedback.
Okay, nice. I think you gave a very good explanation. Eda, so I have another question for you. I heard you said that you also work within region, so I was wondering if and how the regional authorities or even municipalities, if they are involved at some steps, how do they interact with the small medium enterprises when basically it happens that they are both involved, both sector, private and public, in your project, in your solutions that you propose?
Okay. You mentioned municipalities. Yes, in some countries, the municipalities are working on it. In Turkey, it's more central, I can say. But I would like just to mention, we prepared also research, another deliverable about different funding possibilities for digitalization. Regional and EU level, and we update it regularly. However, it can be only reached by the companies who use the investment readiness level tool and got a password from us. It's in our website, but it's in a hidden part of our website they can reach. But the first one is reachable, I think, in our website. The first one we prepared at the beginning of the project. We gathered regional, local, and European level funding or other opportunities for digitalization, actually, as a part of our project. Yes, I know in some countries, for example, I've heard about Barcelona, and in Spain, I think it's mostly municipalities dealing with it. In Turkey, it's a little bit more central. We have some central and also regional funding. But as a general thought, opinion, I can say public and private collaboration for digitalization is really important, because as I mentioned, the manufacturing sector, it's important. They are afraid of they think the barriers for digitalization came out as the high investment values. So there must be some public funding for like we did in Mind4Machines for the technology development. or also for the companies who would like to invest in digitalization manufacturing companies. Of course, it cannot be always a research project or innovation project. It's not. It's an investment project. So there can be some loans or with low interest or no interest, something like that, given by the governments, such things. And also EU has launched European Digital Innovation Hubs, which are also important for the digitalization in the support from the public sector to the manufacturers and to the technology developers. These are really important to make it. Only private sectors efforts wouldn't be enough, especially for SMEs.
Yeah, and I guess also that having a more, let's say, centralized governance, that probably helps a lot with loans and economic support, financial support. I would guess. I don't know if. What do you think if you would take the same project in a different context, where maybe you mentioned Barcelona, for example, where the governance is more decentralized and there is more power to municipalities and maybe provinces or regions? Do you think that would be more difficult in general?
Actually, it depends from country to country. In some countries, it's more regional level. In some countries, it's central level. Both can work, I think. But the main idea is that there must be some public support to the digitalization of manufacturing companies as well, either central or municipality, regional level. But there must be some support.
Thank you. I will then step to Brigitta, and I would ask, within the project Forging, what's from the nice presentation you gave, what are the main strategies, I wonder, that you see, also considering that you performed a lot of future scenarios, future studies to develop it? What are the main strategies that can have a positive impact to improve and to make the development of new technology faster?
So I'm not sure if I got the question right, but I think you're asking about the foresight part. So one thing that we're now finalizing are the images of the future. So based on the workshops that we've delivered, we've got an artist to actually present those future images visually. So we can have a look at what do we think the opportunities are, but also where people see the risks coming from those technologies. And some of the major risks were seen in further polarization. So rich people getting richer, poor getting poorer. In further, there was issue of governance also that was raised quite a lot, and of regulation. The question, should we regulate the technology or the application of it? Because if we regulate the technology as itself, it may hinder the development in that technological area. Also, just coming back a little bit to what Eda was saying earlier, for SMEs, there's a question of trust as well in the technologies. And there's also often a question of being overwhelmed with so many different solutions in the market and not really being able to identify what is the digital solution that I should adopt that will actually give my company the cutting edge. What's the best tool for me? So big industry can maybe get a big consultancy to work with them and to identify what is my approach to modernizing my company. But for SMEs, this is a little bit more difficult to achieve. And we shouldn't forget that Europe is made of SMEs. mainly. And there is where we need to build the bridges between the academia and between what is the research, and start thinking now, how can this be used to give the competitive edge to the companies, especially to our industry, because we don't want to wake up to another Nokia moment in another industry, for example.
I think you raised a very good point. As you said, Europe is made of SMEs, and the focus should be on them, because it's also seen, and it's also the strong point of the continent, I believe, when it comes to not only these sectors but different sectors. And changing sector, I would like to go back to Stefan, and I would like to ask him a bit about, well, I'd like to hear more about the interaction between the traditional knowledge of farmers and the, let's say, acceptance of digitalization, and how these two elements interact with each other. Because I can imagine that, as is one of the oldest, is one of the oldest function that has always been done, growing food. I wonder how, since digitalization is not so old but relatively new, how the farmers in general accept this this novel, let's say.
Yeah, Matthias, thank you. It's a very good question, actually, and I think it basically really approaches the core of this topic. When we look at traditional knowledge, as you said, it's food is grown since basically humans settled, and the knowledge that was built over time, so the traditional knowledge, obviously proved itself over the time. So basically, it's not only knowledge on how to do things, but it's actually, I would say, wisdom on how the system, the growing works, how basically the ecosystem, the surrounding works, and how food can be produced out of that. So this traditional knowledge is basically dealing with the whole complexity of farming, and is by that something which is extremely valuable. When we now look at digitalization, there we have, let's say, very functional solutions. So we have a certain type of input, a certain type of output. What we create first is data, and in the context, it becomes information. In an applicable context, the information becomes knowledge, and only in a whole system understanding this can become wisdom as well. So by itself, the digitalization is stupid, but by really knowing what to look for, what to build for, we actually can actually build tools that support the wisdom that was generated, the complexity that can be tackled, by basically helping the farmer to apply his traditional knowledge via sensors, for example, via exact monitoring, to kind of connect this wisdom with the data world. And I think what digitalization should be, that it really supports the agroecological and farming that is based on traditional knowledge, is really, it should be seen as a kind of precision tool to bring in the complex information that can be then applied based on this, let's say, wisdom that was already built before. And this, I think, is the only way actually how digitalization can really work as a, because basically the huge collection of data, it's a possibility rather to, let's say, more conventional practices to really tackle this complexity that is also hidden in the traditional knowledge. And I think this is actually the strength of this approach. The tools need to be different. The approaches on how to apply these tools need to be different than just, let's say, tools to help in upscaling, which is also has its place and is important, but there's a specific need, and this is to capture this complexity, and this is the need that these tools have to provide to the farmers.
That's very interesting, and I think it's good to hear that there is a sort of, I would call it respect that digitalization, when it is introduced in a certain field, should have with, let's say, how certain activities have been performed through the time. And in this case, of course, the tradition of farmers and how they are used to manage their work.
I would like to add up here one thing, and I think this is also important as we see it from our feedbacks, that of course for the farmer it's important that the, let's say, traditional knowledge that is built, and this is also the property in that sense of the farmers, is they're not easily given away. So the tools should be really support us in terms of functionality rather than, let's say, collectors of this important, let's say, knowledge of farmers. It's also not easily transferable as well. So I think this is something that, especially from farmers in the sustainable farming field, is a feedback that is very often coming to be master of their own data, not too easily to give it away. So here it's really seen as an important issue.
Clear. Well, we have about. Please,
here,
Brigitta.
just a comment. I think the important part there is really the skills development, what Stefan was mentioning, and in terms of farmers, in terms of business owners, because farmers are a type of business owner as well, right? And having these digital skills to actually be mindful that they will not implement the same process just with digital tools. The process needs to change. The way how they do things will change when you implement specific digital tools. And probably Eda has quite a lot of experience from the projects that they funded about how this change then comes about.
Actually, I was thinking of mentioning lean manufacturing, because digitalization is not enough. If you can implement a digitalization, you can build up a digital tool, but actually it's how you manufacture it. It's the way you are doing it. So it starts with the lean manufacturing process. Actually, before digitalization, it's necessary to make the production area lean. So it might be also refer also to the agriculture sector. It's how you do the work before you invest in digitalization. Like you said, Brigitta, it's hard to decide on which tool you have to invest. It's also a challenge. And first, and also what you have to digitalize is also important, because without a good infrastructure, you cannot build something good on it. And when it comes to efficiency, then you have to make everything maybe from the start. That's it, I think.
Yeah, and well, since now we are talking about this, and also, let's say, the correct approach and what maybe it is better to not do. I would like to hear from all of you about your project. What are the risks that you see, the most potential risks that you see, of course, in general, about digitalization, and maybe if you feel like you can enter a bit in the AI topic, but also, for example, I imagine I also would like to hear from Brigitta the risk about maybe some details of the methodology you have developed. So what do you have to say about risks in general? I would start with Eda, that was just following that direction.
Okay. We have, of course, some AI projects, but I'm not an expert on it. And the AI might be a second or the next thing, maybe the manufacturing SMEs are looking for first, because they are in need of some other sensors like and other kind of technologies. But today, this morning, I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about some AI solutions. And for the AI, I've heard that it's important you give them the right data sets, because AI learns from what you give to the AI. That's a risk maybe for the manufacturing as well, and for everyone is also important. I don't know. Last week, the Open AI's tool is launched. They can make a video from what you have written. I don't remember the name of the tool, but it was launched last Friday. So it's interesting and somehow also frightened from the what can become next. But AI is working on the data what we have given to the AI. This might be the main risk by using AI.
I can say I kind of agree with that. Please, Brigitta.
Yeah, if I can build on what Eda said, I'm not an expert in AI either, but we did discuss that quite in depth and about the risks that it can bring. We also have a podcast on forging where you can hear one of the experts that joined our workshops talking about the risks that he thinks we should be looking at. But in summary, it is, a question of what data do you present it. Then it's also a question of educated user of the AI tools, because nowadays we all have access to ChatGPT and similar tools. And it's important for us to understand what they can actually perform and how do they work, so that we understand also how much we can believe, let's say, or trust the output that they give us, right? So we should be quite critical as well to the results and to the outcomes that we get. And there's quite a big research activity going on around the morality of AI. So AI, yes, it has a big potential even to make certain decisions instead of humans, for example, because maybe it will be less biased if we feed it the right data. But then on the other hand, it may also make decisions that are not good for humanity, let's say. And we don't know, with the AI Act that was accepted in Europe, all the AI developed in Europe and used in Europe should be explained, which means that we should be able to tell how it was trained, what data went in, more or less how does it make the decision, although that's not very easily achieved.
Stefan, what do you think about it?
Well, when I look at the sustainable farming and the application of digital tools, AI as machine learning, especially in collection of this complex data, is basically for all the sensoric data really used. And I could not agree more on what Eda said. It's all about the data that is used here. This will be a challenge. It is a challenge currently that is also really playing in the, let's say, local application abilities of tools. We see already now that tools that work in one region don't necessarily work in another, so that especially when you have complex soil data, complex climatic data, models might be different because factors are different, influences of different factors might be different. So that needs to be a good training of the models. When we think about AI now as the chat tools, especially in the usability aspects here, I think is a huge potential, especially for this complex farming where there's a variety of tools where it's often difficult to use the tools. And here, let's say, chatbots, AI chatbots could also very much help, of course, in terms of how to use the tools and ease that. And to what Brigitte said in terms of the concerns, and I also fully agree here, these tools should not take the decisions, there should be decision support. So it should be always transparent, it must be clear to the user, the tools should help in terms of making decisions, but the data needs to be basically transparent, or at some aspect at least accessible in an understanding way for the users. And this is a challenge to build, no question about that, but I think that's the only way these tools can actually really provide values to the farmers.
Yes.
I think one big aspect on the use of AI tools is also the energy consumption that they have, and the cost that implies then, which sometimes is forgotten when we're thinking of adopting a tool. We only realize that once we got the bill, really.
Yeah, and then of course you ask, sometimes I guess the question raised is like, okay, maybe the use of AI has facilitated some process or some outcome, but then at what cost? And I think what you are mentioning now is important, because it might happen that in the end, when you check the balance, and I'm not only also about, of course, the economical point of view, but also the energy consumption point of view, and maybe the time invested in the preparation for this support, you wonder if it was worth or not. Well, I see there are 3 minutes left, and I think we touched many interesting points. I would just say, since we don't have any question from the audience, I see, as I do always at the end of the session, if you would like to ask some questions between each other that maybe you haven't done yet. Otherwise, I think we can close the session. Some doubts or some questions that maybe not only upon the themes that we touched, but also something else that maybe I missed with my questions. If you want to talk more about it, please feel free. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have a question, but I want to say to Eda and Brigitte, a very interesting project. I really want to dive a bit into it. I want to look into it, and maybe we can come together then at a later point.
Keep in touch, I would also like to say, because it's also interesting, the Agri 4.0 applications. We have also some in Turkey, and it's also interesting for the next generations, since it's about food. So it's a really important project, and I would like to keep in touch. Brigitte, I will see next week, I hope.
Yes, in Barcelona we will see each other. And Stefan, it would be good, to keep in touch and see if there's something we can work on together as well. I think there's quite some synergies there. Thank you, Martin and Mattia, for putting us together, because otherwise we probably wouldn't know about each other.
Yeah, we're very happy to see it. It's always nice to see that at the end of this session, the presenters would like to keep contacts and maybe exchange some more information in the future. It's also one of the goals of these loops. So I want to thank you, the three of you, a lot. Thank you for your presentations, for the nice explanations. Let's. There will be more session of loops, and maybe in the future, of course, we will discuss similar or same topics. And it would be nice if you can participate, and if you are interested in more than participating, of course, you're free to be also a guest another time. And yes, it was really, really interesting. And thank you very much again. I hope to also stay in touch with you as Velta. And yeah, all the best with your projects. And thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, the audience.